TLPH. They started off very strong, and now they're starting to lose games here and there. So the question is, are they meeting in the middle, or is, at least in my opinion, TLPH still a couple notches ahead? We came into this event thinking they would be the favorite, but right now they're in a shaky position along with ONIC.
What about you, Wolf? What do you think about this matchup?
I think Team Liquid is not struggling. I think that's the hot take because they lost. The only teams that they lost to are the teams that are in the upper bracket finals, right? Minimum top 3.
SRG,
That's SRG as well as Aurora. So I don't think that they are weak or whatever. ONIC, however, I think that we can prove that there are so many games that they have lost because they have struggled or they made bad decisions. But we know ONIC Indonesia is a team with great support from their organization, and I'm sure that they can come back. They have great players as well.
Yeah, I mean, like, here's the thing, because if there's anything that both ONIC as well as Team Liquid is hiding, at this point, there's no more room for you to hide. Whatever your best composition is, you got to bring it out now. So with that, Wolf, we've seen the matches coming in today, 3-0 for Team Spirit against Yangon Galacticos. Do you feel like there's any picks that both ONIC as well as Team Liquid is looking out for?
I'm going for Harley and Leonward here, and I feel like both teams, Kyrie and Carl TZ, we have seen them play the Assassins, the utility junglers, but maybe this time they can focus on those niche picks, like the Guinevere maybe, but Leonward and Harley on Kyrie and Carl TZ, that's going to be exciting.
What about you, Trex? So far, we've seen a lot of damagers in the jungler. Do you feel like we might even see a utility? Because personally for me, I do not want to see Kyrie on the Boxy anymore.
I definitely don't want to see Kyrie on the Basha. I wouldn't be against seeing Carl TZ on the Fredrin or something of that nature. We haven't seen it pop in yet, but honestly, the meta has changed so much from Swiss to now that just about anything is possible.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit more about this one. We're going to be looking at the matchup coming in from both teams here. The Sky King versus the Cavalry, right? These are organizations that have met multiple times. We're just looking at the MSC here in the group stage. Team Liquid was able to beat them, same as the semi.
Hello, hello. What is happening?
That team that ONIC Indonesia is a team that can easily
Let's go!
Team Liquid, what you can actually expect from them is
Let's
for them
go
to
on.
perform so well after a loss. Team Liquid is a team that whenever they lose a series, be it in the regular season of a local league or be it an international event, they really can perform.
The crazy thing here is because since Aurora was able to defeat Alter Ego yesterday, that make it so that there's no Indo Grand Finals. That's not possible anymore. And this makes it, I would say, quite a nervous situation for Indonesia, because if ONIC does well, eventually they will meet up against Alter Ego if Alter Ego also does well. So you coming in all the way from the States, what do you feel like Indonesia is feeling like right now, where both of their representatives are here in the low brackets?
I think nerves have been on edge for a while, and overall, if I'm an Indonesian, I put my faith heavily into Alter Ego.
Let's go!
Amazing job so far. Yes, they got knocked down in the lower bracket, but if I had to choose between which Indonesian team had a better shot at making it to Grand Finals, it's definitely Alter Ego for me. But if ONIC wins this against TLPH, it's a whole different story.
I'm gonna set this up. Wolf, if somehow Team Liquid loses this one, can we just say whoever is aiming for that golden road is bound to fail? Because, dude, every single team that attempts it at the very last stretch,
Exactly.
there's some kind of problems. I still trust Team Liquid, honestly, but if, you know?
That just proves how competitive Mobile Legends can be. And if you think about it, no one has ever actually done the Golden Road, even outside of MLBB. So it's just a difficult feat to have. But yeah, you're true. I think you're speaking true. I mean, I think the Golden Road
is the impossible road.
It's almost an impossible road, but who knows, man?
Hey, like, we're going to be seeing this matchup. If Team Liquid is able to beat out ONIC, and I feel like if it's convincing, then there's a good chance that they might still complete the Golden Road. I'm just worried if it's like really competitive. It's going to be amazing for us, right? The audience, the casters, us panelists. But I feel like for the fans, they're like, okay, hold on. Against ONIC, it was very difficult. They are the champions of Indonesia, but you got to admit, man, Team Spirit looks solid. Aurora, from the Philippines looks amazing, and SRG as well is on a roll.
Yeah.
Now for ONIC, Trex, what do you think like they really have to improve on?
I think in contrast to TLPH, it's not just a few small draft issues. There's also some in-game issues. I think a lot of teams had trouble adapting to the meta, and now even into top 8, where we're seeing things like Leo Mord and even more different meta picks are still having trouble, but that's not the only case for ONIC here. There's some in-game things that they also need to improve, and I think a lot of that comes down to pacing. Pacing has been so important in the laning phase. It's something that a lot of these more, hey, let's wait till late game, things like that, those type of teams, they need to change it up and win out in these first few turtles.
What do you think about Dimitri of ONIC? Because I kind of feel like, honestly, they've been lacking a little bit.
That's a good question because yeah, I do feel like they are lacking just compared to other teams because other teams are more consistent. Surely some other trios out there like the YSS trio that you like for SRG, they have
Yum, Stormy, and Sakai, yeah, the YSS.
a Team Liquid, for example, JP, Carl TZ, and Sanji has been pretty solid. Keyboy Sans has the highest peaks though. When it
I
comes
don't
to
normally
gameplay,
do this
they're
kind of
more
videos, but
they are so
I do play Mobile Legends and I am
They
really
can
excited
actually
for
turn
this
things around
match,
no matter what
you know,
happens.
because I
It's
have been
just that
supporting ONIC a
they're
lot,
so
but
consistent. And there are so
I feel
many
like
players that we can
they are
show
gonna
you
lose
that
this
they
match, and
don't
if
think we don't
they
even have to prove
lose
that at all
this
because we can see
game,
that if they pop off,
it's over
Yeah.
they are
for
going to be
ONIC,
exciting.
Kyrie, and
And I
everyone.
like that you point out.
Let's see how it
we
goes.
can show instances of why they look pretty shaky, but the thing is, even the audience, you guys at home, you guys have really been vocal about this one, saying like, yeah, the mid trio hasn't really been performing all that well. Loopy has been looking amazing. Skylar's a bit here and there, but I kind of feel like it's more of a meta thing, right? We got to see whether they can fix that or not, because going up against the final boss, Team Liquid, that's going to be a quite a steep hill to climb. And one of the problems is, I really feel like, is the hero, because Keyboy so far has tried to Helker. Doesn't really work. Kalia, which is one of his signatures, doesn't really work. So it comes to the question, what can work for Keyboard right now?
So is it really just like the Kalea for Keyboy, or is it a bigger issue at hand? Because we are seeing Kalea work for a lot of teams. We're seeing some of these picks do very well for a lot of teams. So is it a hero or a pick problem, or an in-game rotation, mechanics, macro, those type of things that ONIC is lacking on right now?
And the problem is because, again, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know what's happening in their camp. We can only speculate whether it's an in-game issue or out-of-game issue. Because as much as you want to talk about the things happening in-game, it is a reality that we have to think about. Because esports, Mobile Legends, it is a mental game. If there's something happening in the background that we all just don't know, it could really throw a wrench in how you make your decisions. Especially because we saw earlier Team Spirit going up against Yango Galacticos. It was even, up until the point Yango Galacticos could not make a decisive decision around the Lord.
Yeah, it was rough, and I think mentality.
Good job.
It was rough. We made it for sure. But mental, I think, has been the story for a lot of these games over the past 2 days. It's kind of been one of our hot storylines in general. How is this team going to recover from losses? How is this team going to do when they are on a roll
let's
and
start
getting
the
wins
match.
or pressure in game? And that seems to be something that ONIC has kind of had issues with throughout time itself.
I was able to talk to some of the players of ONIC in an interview that will eventually come out there, but he basically said that there is something that is beyond what we can observe as just the viewers. And it's not that necessarily that they have problems on their own. I think it's more about them not being locked in during those times. I think they're just not activated at the right moments, whereas for other teams, with just a snap of a finger, you can see them just being so locked in when it comes to games. You can see Team Spirit, for example, all of a sudden show us their 100% strength up against Young Galacticos. You can see even Alter Ego take a game away from Aurora. Aurora eventually win that, and then SRG almost losing against Aurora Turkey. What I'm trying to say is that every single team has their switch. It seems like we haven't turned that switch on yet for ONIC.
So now I want to swap it down to Team Liquid. They're looking very strong. But if there's any reason that Team Liquid drops the game here against ONIC, since you'll know them a little bit better, what could be a reason where Team Liquid just doesn't perform today?
That is so interesting because I think that that there is no reason that they have built their lineup around it, their organization around them being really good at the games no matter what happens. And if ever there will be someone who will underperform, there is 4 other people that will actually catch them. So I don't know how to answer that question, but I think it will definitely start with the metagame. If for some reason ONIC ID invents a metagame or a strategy that Team Liquid is so unaware of for now, then that might be their weakness. Because if I were to look for a hole in Team Liquid for the longest time, through the years that I've seen them, the only time that they will not win a tournament is if they not updated when it comes to the metagame.
So do you agree with Wolf here? Because so far he's saying like there's no reason for them not to be looking good here unless they just could not keep up with the meta.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the great things about ONIC, at least, you go back to some of their prime times, M4 and M5, they were willing to push the envelope sometimes. They were willing to do things like Aurora Turkey picking up the Harley and turning it into meta. They were willing to kind of pick up picks, and they made them work. We saw things like Lunox Kyrie. We saw all kinds of crazy picks. And now, ONIC, when they do try that, they fall short, and then it's like, oh, we're never trying that again, So I think ONIC, it's an identity crisis. For me, it's, who are we right now? Are we trying to be a Filipino team? Are we trying to be an Indonesian team? I think they need to just be ONIC.
Yeah, so honestly, we will talk about that a little bit more when we actually go to the draft, because sometimes creativity works out. Sometimes it just goes a little bit too creative. Now, before we jump into the game,
it's not gonna make you win the game this time, bro.
Liquid, let's look at some of the videos to see how they've been rolling here in the M7 World Championship.
Aurora turned the tide with one team fight. They sent the Golden Road Dream to the lower.
We had doubts for ONIC ID. I gotta say, their next fight, it's now or never.
Kalau menurut gua ya M7 ini sangatlah berdarah-darah ya. Kita pasti bisa bangkit lagi dan kalah lagi.
But I'm just really frustrated because I can still do more, but at that time I didn't do it, so I still have my regrets after that game.
Kemarin sempat sedih, cuman ya balik lagi kita harus cepat move on karena kita belum berakhir.
Dan ya, gue berharap kita bakalan bangkit lagi lawan LPH karena siapapun yang menang, yang kalah bakalan pulang. Jadi kita bakal berjuang juga karena kita pengen balas dendam lah dari kekalahan terakhir.
I wish them luck. They're not gonna get the sweet revenge that they wanted. After I beat him, I'll become number 1.
Last time in the MSC, they thought us first, especially Kyrie, and I just gonna get back up. If they thought us in the match, I don't know what's gonna happen.
For Liquid, the lower brackets a very comfortable place for us because we like the pressure, especially when we only have one life. We kinda give our best and we kinda improve very fast.
ONIC chance-nya masih ada banget kesempatan buat juara atau masuk final. Kita nggak peduli mau lewat mana, langsung lewat upper bracket, lower bracket, selama kita bisa menang terus. Nanti kita bakal fokus one by one dulu sih, mungkin dari tim Liquid dulu, baru next lagi.
I am personally confident because I just want to play. I want to also get my revenge for myself and I want to meet SRG in the near future.
LPH juga kan ngejar Golden Road, terus kita ngejar title terakhir kita yang belum kita dapetin yang series. Tapi realitinya cuma satu tim yang bisa dapetin nanti.
We wanna do more to achieve the Golden Road because it's much more harder to get the Golden Road and much more satisfying and also good for the storyline if we make it.
Kita bakal berusaha gagalin, bikin tetap jadi cards aja.
Oh, let's go!
Indonesia, are you ready? It's time for the Sky Kings to take the stage.
ONIC. What time is it, ONIC? What time is it, ONIC?
Tennis indoors.
What time is it, ONIC?
Let's go!
Ladies and gentlemen, ONIC are on the stage, but going up, it's gonna be the final boss of M7. Ladies and gentlemen, both champions from the
that's a
Philippines
Lela.
and Indonesia is up on stage. And again, just to remind everyone, this will be an elimination match. So whether you like it or not, one champion goes home.
One champion definitely goes home, and one will move forward to even harder matches. Nobody would have thought that both regional champions would be here today in one of the first lower bracket matches going up against each other on life support.
You wouldn't think that this will be an elimination match between the two of them, but here we are. And what's good about this is that we can expect them to be prepared after days of preparation. Maybe a new hero will come out. Maybe a new duel will come out. This is going to be an exciting match for sure.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, looking at both teams are on stage alongside their coaches. This will be the final match for one of these teams. So make sure you give your support because both of them will need it in this best of 5 elimination match. Now we call for the fist bumps for both teams as we start the match.
And the match is going to be, I mean, at this point, we've broken down the possibilities for each team to win, right? We think our ideas, at least, on how this is going to go. But I do at least want to ask, we haven't been able to give any predictions.
I try not to because I want to make it fair. But now,
he's a safe guy now.
Yeah, of course. Now we're going to look at the ONIC ID here. Lupi, Kyrie, Sansky Boy, as well as Skylar. I got to say, out of everyone, Lupi has really impressed me the most, especially the final game where he was using the Alice is basically unkillable, trying his very best to make sure that ONIC has a chance against Alter Ego. But again, it can't be a one-man army. Everyone else has to step up.
I think ONIC definitely needs to be able to work as a team here. They need to find a way to be able, TLP has been a more passive team in a sense, so I think ONIC can maybe take advantage of that in the early game.
And right now we have Team Malika, we got Sanford, Carl TZ, Sanjay, JP, as well as Oheb. And again, all 5 players have been known to be the best in their individual positions. But again, it looks like here in the M7 World Championship, just like our panel has been talking about, it has been very competitive. So each of their position, gold laner, EXP, jungle, roam, and mid, every single one of them is being highly contested here to see that who is going to be the new king of each position.
Oh, wow. That's a scary thought just to think about it. The jungler, of course, is there. Cartesi, everybody's eyes is on him, right? And I think that the Team Liquid as a whole, when they enter this tournament, if there will be a pattern for which team you want to beat, Team Liquid will always be on top of your list when it comes to trying to study it. And that's probably why the teams that Team Liquid have faced have always been prepared against them.
Another thing to point out, Santi's been #1 in first blood kills in the mid game, tied with Rosa. Overall, and that shows that they do have control over that mid lane tempo, something that we're looking for in this match to come up.
Yeah. Right now, I have a question for Wu. Have you ever feel like a situation where you just wasted your time?
Many times, yeah.
Like you're trying to set up a joke and then it just won't happen at least for another 40 minutes?
Pretty much. Especially with the amount of effort that you put in. And
I'm just saying,
hassle for your teammates that you did.
Yeah, I feel like lowering your vision is not needed anymore.
Yeah.
So
I thought we were gonna have like an interview with a player.
you can take it off. You know, I'm just saying.
I actually can.
He was committed.
Yeah, he was very committed, and now he looks very, very disappointed. But now we got to talk about this matchup here because I feel like just like the matchup between Team Spirit against Yangon Galacticos, when it comes to the bans, it's going to be something that we really have to look out for because if we do see a frigate ban, there's a very high likelihood that we might be seeing a Claude, which is very interesting considering we have not seen a Claude almost at all. Only Innocent is just one game.
That's my big question right now is how different is the lower bracket meta going to be from the games we saw earlier today? Is TLPH and ONIC going to follow the same pathing of, first picking Leo more, things like that? It's nothing but Sora Gold and Claude essentially tossed to the side at this point.
The way I see this, it will be completely different tricks. I think that we will see some exotic heroes, or at least a different pattern for both of our teams. And the reason why I say that is because of familiarity. These two teams have battled against each other many, many times before. In fact, I would even wager that they have screamed against each other during the regular seasons of their own leagues many, many times. So what I'm trying to say is, if you already know what your opponent is going to do, if you know their pattern, you try to outplay them, and then they try to outplay you, all of a sudden, it's an entirely different battlefield. So, in conclusion, I think this series will have such a difficult draft pattern to predict.
Well, speaking on draft pattern, ladies and gentlemen, looks like Team Liquid will be the first pick here. So now, Will, run by me. What are the possible advantages that Team Liquid can have being first pick blue side?
Okay, so that offering the trade is the most important part of it. And what I say about that is you force your opponents to even open a Magician, for example, in exchange for a Claude. The first pick is so important when it comes to the trades that this is something that we can expect them to actually go for.
Now, well, ladies and gentlemen, this will be the first draft between ONIC Indonesia going up against Team Liquid from the Philippines. Team Liquid will be having first pick, and it looks like the map will be Dangerous Grass. One of the faster maps here in the M7 World Championship, and we'll like to call it, it is going to be a first pick Sora, with Team Liquid betting on the Fan, the Kalia, as well as the Eve, and ONIC Indonesia betting on the Yuzong, the Claude, and the Jushin.
Okay, so there's still enough respect to ban out the Claude from ONIC here, but that leaves the Sora open, and yes, we've been seeing nothing but gold lane Sora, but also we know it's possible in the EXP, which makes TL very flexible from a starting position.
That's why you want to pick up the Hilda if you are ONIC in this case. Usage Hilda could be a good opener because it kind of prevents... Okay, so they went for the CC instead. What I'm trying to say is it might prevent Team Liquid to go for an assassin, but in this scenario, you just might as well get the Lancelot, right? You're up against just the CC. Lancelot Hilda might be the opener here for Team Liquid.
I'm thinking maybe Hilda Farza, you walk in mid, and then you can still go to a jungler into second phase comfortably. You have things like the Sora already in.
I agree.
Something that you have to say, ONIC has a very SRG kind of opening here, being able to CC as well as the Yasin Shin. I kind of feel like if they get something like a Farsa or a Cho is still open as well. I kind of feel like that's going to be a priority here. The Farsa taken away,
Lancelot.
and the Lancelot shown up here. Now the question is, do they want to go for a Valentina pick? Like, is that too much?
I honestly feel like Hilda is better for ONIC here. Valentina is gonna be a massive pick though because it has two ultimates to answer already, and I would not be surprised if that is going to be the case. But I feel like you have to really stop Easy from farming. And Keyboy has been so good with that hero. Maybe you can pick up the Valentina now and ban the Hilda if you're not that scared for your Valentina to not have a good game.
The good thing about the Valentina here is you still have the option to read the last two picks of TL. If they decide not to put Sora into the gold lane, you can flex around, right? You can leave Valentina as your mid and pick something else up. So I think picking it up here now leaves them a little bit more options coming into the second phase.
Right now I'm looking at the roamers, Keyboy as well as JP, their primary heroes are still up. You see how the show still have the Hilda. We also got to talk about the Khalid, the high loss, and even Gata. Gata hasn't been picked up so much, but still, especially the Khalid. I feel like Khalid is something that both teams are thinking about.
Yeah, I think for Team Liquid, they're more likely to pick up the Khalid than for ONIC, especially because they want to preemptively get kind of counter the Hilda, but at the same time, you don't want to give a good ultimate to Valentina anymore. Of course, you've already given the Sora ultimate as well as the Parcel ultimate, but if you give something like a Khalid, it will give so much options for Suns. One of the best Valentina users that we've seen all throughout the history of MLBB, another good ultimate to steal.
So TLPH needing to pick these two bans here. You guys mentioned the Kadita earlier as a pickup for ONIC. I know it's like a fallback pick for Sans, but it hasn't been performing for just about any teams at this point. And yes, it's supposed to work good against the Farza, but I think TLPH has that card checked at this point. And ONIC needs to, dig a little deeper than just comfort with Kadita or something of that nature.
Yeah. And I guess the predicament that ONIC have put themselves in is, if they do pick up the Keyboy hero 4th pick, Red 4, that means the Team Liquid can easily adjust. But then, if you pick up the Lupi hero or the Skylar hero 4th pick, you also reveal so much, so you get countered heavily. That's why I feel like the blue pick is the blue side. I mean, is just so good and so flexible.
We're not gonna feel like the Cho. What do you guys feel about the Cho for ONIC?
For ONIC, it will be countered by a Hylos. That's what I'm saying. Like everything could be good for ONIC. I mean, there's so many options for them, but at the same time, they can be answered by Team Liquid. But yeah, Cho could be good for ONIC. They take it away from Team Liquid. Team Liquid will eventually have answers to that though.
I think at this point, honestly, I know that the Valentina does well against Sora in the gold. Oh no matter what this because you already have CC. CC's got to go to gold, right? Yeah. I mean, essentially, so we know the Valentina's in mid. You just pick up the XP lane at this point.
I mean, they can still flex it. They can still kind of flex it, put CC in EXP Valen gold, but again, just like Wolf said, you kind of have to pick Keyboy's heroes 4th if you do want to move it around. If you show either side lane, then that's it. We're locked in. Valentina has to go mid. So I feel like this 4th pick from ONIC is going to be one of the more important picks in their entire draft.
I'd rather then go for a Hilda than a Cho, but a Cho for Keyboy with the Valentina on Suns that can copy the Parcel ultimate. Be good. This is indeed going to be the Hilda. And you take that away from Team Liquid because this is a hero that doesn't have many answers, apart from a Khalid, for example.
And this is a hero that could still possibly be flexed.
That's right.
Yep. So leaves themselves open as well for this final pick, depending on what TL picks up here. Now, they're pretty simple, straightforward, rounded out.
Yeah.
For Rome, what do we think we're looking at? You mentioned Hylos earlier?
Yeah, they pick up the Cho. This is interesting, and they heal the answer. I think ONIC are okay with this, the picks coming up from Team Liquid. All honestly, they can really just use this Hilda as a sandbag for the Cho. Esmeralda is not that big of a threat if it's just Hilda, especially because they have this CC. Now, they cannot go for a hand. Maybe a Granger could be good for ONIC in this scenario. Overall, it's a good hero to have. They go Alice instead.
Okay, so it looks like this is going to be Alice EXP, which again is one of the Lupi standout hero against Alter Ego. So right now, Trex looking at draft coming in from both teams. How do you feel about the draft overall?
I mean, overall, ONIC trying to pull off what SRG did to TLPH in the Swiss round with a heavy fighter dive composition, the CC, the Hilda, things of that nature. If they're going to be able to pull it off, it is a big question. The lineup rating skews heavily into ONIC's favor right now. But like I said earlier, with so many fighters in the meta right now, so many weird offlane picks, I think it has trouble. I think the AI has a little trouble reading.
Thank you very much, Wolf, as well as Trex. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is champions versus champions in an elimination match. We're going to be throwing it over to the casters. It's your turn.
5 seconds till
Thanks so much to the panel here, and once again, everyone, welcome to the land of Dawn. It's a crucial match between the champions, one of Philippines and one of Indonesia. To take us through, it's me, Naisu, joined on the desk with Leo and Mirko to bring in the action of this best-of-5 elimination match here in the MS7 World Championship. Boys, the panel shared their sentiments on this draft. I have to agree with Trex, man. I think the AI gets a little skewed sometimes because, man, those lineup ratings.
And they may be blinded by the aggression that ONIC could potentially bring out. You're looking at a very strong mid lane, Valentina and Hilda. And you're seeing here, Team Liquid is answering back. They essentially held the line.
That they did. Yeah.
At this point, I'm wondering what the matchup's going to be like, right? Because we haven't really seen too many Alice versus Sora matchups. The fact that they ended up flexing this Valentina into mid so far was kind of crazy.
Part of this, too, as we look at the emblems here, this Sora in the hands of Sanford will be